looking at lesson 93 today. We're looking at the discriminant. Have you heard of this word before?
Not discrimination.
Okay, but not discriminant, right?
Nope.
Okay. No. So we're going to look at the discriminant, and it's going to tell us how many solutions we have for our question. We're either going to have one single real number, or we will have two different real numbers, or we will have two different imaginary numbers or complex numbers. So those are your options for the number of solutions. Either one real, or two imaginary. 93. That's for calculus. B squared minus 4AC. That's where you find your discriminant. Where is that from? Quadratic formula. More specifically, what part of the quadratic formula? The square root part. We're only looking at the part under the square root. We are not going to be solving these for the answer. We're just going to be telling how many answers we have. Either 1, 2 real, or 2 imaginary. When the discriminant equals 0, there is only one real answer. Yeah. Our discriminant is the square root part, right? So whenever that equals 0, we're just left with that. What is plus or minus 0? So do we need that plus or minus 0? So we just have negative b over 2a. Does that make sense? That's why you only end up with one answer, because that plus or minus part doesn't end up being needed. Yeah. If it would reduce, you could reduce it. Okay? When the discriminant is greater than 0, when it's positive, there are two real number solutions. And then when the discriminant is less than 0 or negative, there are two imaginary or complex solutions. Looking at these bottom two, if this is a positive number, you're going to have the square root of whatever it is, right? If it's 16, you'll just say square root of 16, or 20, or 45, whatever it is. And that is an actual number, right? Square root of 45, square root of 16, we know those. But if this part is a negative, do we know the square root of negative 16? Like, is it a real number though? Or the square root of negative 45? Or the square root of negative 100? They're all imaginary. Okay? So if it's a negative number in your square root, then you get the two imaginaries. Does that make sense? Do y'all see how to figure out how many solutions you're going to have? Are we actually looking at the actual answers? We're just trying to see how many we're going to have. No, they're just going to predict the kind of solutions, but do not actually solve it. That's what it'll say. We're only going to look at the square root part. Mm-hmm. Well, we're going to write it. Yeah, we're only plugging in the square root part. So x squared equals negative 4x plus 2. Is that in the correct form that we want it to be in? What do we need to make it? You don't need to. You really only need the b squared minus 4ac. So we are only looking at b squared minus 4ac. What is our b? What is our a? What is our c? Y'all see how that works? So 4 squared, and then what? Which is? So, do we have one answer? Why do we have two? It's not a 0. Okay, is it a positive or a negative? It's greater than 0. So are they real or are they imaginary? So what would I put for my answer? Two real solutions. Two real solutions. That is the answer to the question. Predict what kind of answers you're going to have. You'll have two real solutions.
Okay, so like, say, discriminant equals 0, 1
What?
Okay. These aren't all that hard. Discriminant is 4, and if it's... Oh, so we use the rules.
Yeah, right. After you get your number, you look. If it's 0, then you have one real answer. If it's a positive number, you have two real answers. And if it's a negative, you have two imaginary. We don't actually put the 24 for our answer. Two real, two imaginary, or one real. Do y'all see how that works? Okay, let's look. Yes. So let's look at another example. What kind of roots, what kind of answers does this equation have? Do not actually solve these. Yes, negative 2x equals negative 3x squared minus 8.
So we don't put that in the b squared minus 4ac.
Is it in the correct form right now? What do I need to do? Okay, so I get do you agree now?
Yes.
Okay, so b squared minus 4ac. What is my b squared? 4 minus 4. What is my a? What is my c? Okay, what do I get? 4 minus what? Which is? Okay, so what kind of roots does this equation have? Two imaginary solutions, two imaginary answers. Y'all see how that works? Any questions here? 90, negative 92. Negative 92 is negative. Any other questions? Okay. All right. Your test, yes.